Have you ever thought of what makes up our body? How about the chairs, the food, and even the face mask that we wear for protection against the life-threatening COVID-19 virus?
All of these things are made of atoms. Wherever we look, everything is made up of atoms. From grains of sand, strand of hair, to the planets, to the stars, to the moon, and to infinity and beyond. Join us
as we delve and unearth the concept behind
atoms.
This is Atoms Explained.
The questions are what, where, and how we can find atoms. According to the Northwestern University, atoms are the basic units of matter. Everything in the universe apart from energy is made up of matter. Therefore, atoms make up everything in the universe.
Your chair, your book, your snacks, and even your gadgets are made up of atoms.
The term atom comes from the Greek word for indivisible because it was once thought that atoms were the smallest things in the universe and they could not be divided. The idea that everything is made up of atoms was pioneered by John Dalton. But if atoms make up matter, then what makes up an atom?
Atoms are made up of three particles known as subatomic particles: protons and neutrons and electrons. The protons and neutrons are found inside the nucleus while the electrons resides outside the nucleus. But I think we must get to know the particles that makes up an atom better. So Alkena, please take over.
The nucleus. According to the American Institute of Physics, the nucleus was discovered in the year 1911 by Ernest Rutherford, a physicist from New Zealand. In the year 1920, Rutherford proposed the name proton for the positively charged particles of the atom. He also theorized that there was a neutral particle within the nucleus, which James Chadwick, a British physicist and student of Rutherford, was able to confirm in the year 1932. Virtually all the mass of an atom resides in its nucleus. The protons and the neutrons that make up the nucleus are approximately the same mass and have the same angular momentum or speed. Now, speaking of protons and neutrons, I believe some of my groupmates, Analu and Janine, has more to say about them.
Neutrons. Neutrons are uncharged particles found within all atomic nuclei except for hydrogen. A neutron's mass is slightly larger than that of a proton. Like proton, neutrons are also made up of quarks. The neutron's existence was theorized by Rutherford in 1920 and discovered by Chadwick in 1932, according to the American Physical Society. Neutrons were found during experiments when atoms were shot and a thin sheet of beryllium. Subatomic particles with no charge were released than neutron.
Protons. Protons are positively charged particles found within atomic nuclei. Rutherford discovered them in the experiments with cathode ray tubes that were conducted between 1911 and 1919. According to the Jefferson law, protons are about 99.86% as massive as neutrons. The number of protons in an atom is unique to each element. Its numbers is referred to as the atomic number of the element. Also, the number of protons determines the chemical behavior of the element. Elements are arranged in the periodic table of the element in order of increasing atomic number.
Electrons. According to Jefferson Lab, electrons are tiny compared to protons and neutrons. over 1,800 times smaller than either a proton or a neutron. Electrons are about 0.54% as massive as neutrons. Electrons were discovered in 1897 by British physicist Joseph Thomson, originally known as corpuscles. Electrons have a negative charge and are electrically attracted to the positively charged protons. Electrons surround the atomic nucleus in pathways called orbitals, an idea that was put forth by Erwin Schrödinger, an Australian physicist, in the 1920s. Today, this model is known as the quantum model or the electron cloud model. The inner orbitals surrounding the atom are spherical, but the outer orbitals are much more complicated.
And that is what makes up an atom, which in turn makes up our world and the whole universe. A fact that is often taken for granted by many.
And the more we understand the world, the more we appreciate how it works.